Welcome to 21st Sports coverage of the 2015 NBA Finals Game 1 between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. And it took place June 4th, 2015 at the Oracle Arena in Oakland, California. And so now we're going to start off with a summary of the action. Then we'll go to the top stat lines and some numbers for both teams and some analysis. But starting things off in this game in the first quarter, it started off pretty tight. But then after the Warriors had taken the lead, the Cavs went on a 17-2 run, and LeBron scored 12 points in the first quarter. So after one, it was 21-19 with the Cleveland Cavaliers in the lead, up by 10. But then in the second quarter, the Golden State Warriors, going back to the last 4 points of the first, were on a 12-2 run as they ended the first with those 4 points, and then they started the second with a 8-2 run. And so then it was 31-27 as they were trailing the Cavs by 4 points with just under 8 minutes left before halftime. And then down by 7, the Warriors went on an 11-0 run to take the lead by 5 with the score 41-36 with under 3 minutes left in the first half. LeBron would tie the game at 46 and then give the Cavs the lead with a layup 48-46 with about 30 seconds left before halftime. But then Draymond Green with an awesome dunk ties the game at 48. But J.R. Smith drains the three to give the Cavs the lead at halftime by 3, 51-48. So then the Cavs would extend their lead to as many as 7 points in the third quarter, but Golden State kept the pressure on as they were hitting their shots, and they made it a 1-point game on 4 occasions during the third quarter. And then with the final shot of the quarter, Andre Iguodala tied the game at 73 with a layup after stealing the ball from LeBron James. So it was tied up going into the fourth. Then Kyrie Irving opened up the fourth quarter with a layup, giving the Cavs back the lead 75-73. But then Andre Iguodala nailed a three-pointer to put the Warriors up by 1. And this was the first lead for Golden State in the second half. And then Shaun Livingston added 2 to make it a 3-point lead at 78-75. Then after 2 ties, Mozgov gave the Cavs the lead with a feed from LeBron James to make it 84-82. The Warriors responded with a feed from Thompson to Bogut, and then after a missed 3 from J.R. Smith, Steph Curry hit an 18-footer to give Golden State the lead 94-93. Thompson would hit a pair of free throws, and then LeBron James nailed a 3 to tie the game at 96. Fast forward to less than a minute left in regulation, and Steph Curry comes up clutch, hitting a 20-footer to make it 98-96. Then with about 30 seconds left, LeBron feeds Mozgov, who draws the foul down low, and the big man hits both free throws to tie the game at 98. Steph Curry would drive the lane from the right corner and went for a layup, but Kyrie Irving came up huge with a block, and it was now Cavs ball. LeBron missed a 21-footer from the left side, and then Shumpert got the rebound. He put up a 21-footer from the right side off of that rebound, and time expired as he missed the shot, and we were headed to overtime. So it was 98-98 heading into overtime, and the Warriors dominated the Cavs in OT. Both teams were struggling to get a bucket early on, but Steph Curry would hit 4 of 4 from the free throw line to make it 102-98 halfway through the extra quarter. Kyrie Irving would end up going down due to injury, as it looked like he aggravated his knee injury, and he was limping up the court on defense, and the Cavs could not call a timeout until they got the ball. But that was after Harrison Barnes drained a 3 to make it 105-98. Iguodala would hit 1 of 2 free throws, and Draymond Green would hit 2 of 2. And it was now 108-98, and Cleveland still hadn't hit a shot in OT, and they would not score until just 8.9 seconds left in overtime as LeBron James would drive the lane, and he hit the layup, and it was now 108-100, but the game would come to a close moments later. So Golden State comes up big in this game. They take game 1 of the series Cleveland had a chance to steal this one in Golden State. If they're going to win this series, then they would have had to take a game in Oakland, and this was their best chance to do so, and the Warriors would not let them do it. They refused to lose. They go up 1-0 in the series, a very impressive win for Golden State. Early on in the first quarter, Golden State was down, and Cleveland was using their size to their advantage. Their big men were in the paint. They were getting those buckets down low, and Golden State needed to find their shot. They only scored 19 points in that first quarter, but they found their shot in the second quarter. They scored 10 more points in that quarter. They scored 29 points in the second, outscoring the Cavs by 7 to be down by 3 as J.R. Smith had that three-pointer right before halftime. And then in the third, it was really tight, very closely contested, very competitive basketball in that third quarter. Usually you see in the third quarter, that's when the team will end up kind of putting some distance between themselves and the other team, but this game was tight throughout that third quarter, and at the end of 3, it was tied at 73. So it's just an excellent basketball game, and they were neck and neck in the fourth as they both scored 25 points in that fourth quarter to force overtime, 98-98. But then in overtime, the Cavs just ran out of steam. They couldn't keep up with the Warriors as they kept hitting their shots, and the Warriors take this one. A very impressive overtime quarter by the Warriors there, shutting down the Cavs, not letting them score. And Kyrie Irving went down with about 2 minutes left in overtime, but he was there for the first 3 minutes of overtime, and that didn't help him score anyway. So it wasn't even just that Kyrie Irving went down. It was just the Cavs could not score. As the Golden State, they actually play some really good defense. And, of course, Bogut is a big part of that, as well as Draymond Green. Let's look at the numbers, though, for the Warriors and for the Cavs. The Golden State Warriors had 4 players score in double digits in this game, led by Steph Curry, who had 26 points. He had 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals. Klay Thompson, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. Draymond Green with 12 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Harrison Barnes with 11 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. And rounding out the starting 5, Andrew Bogut with 4 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. And coming off the bench, Andre Iguodala scored double digits with 15 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. Marreese Speights had 8 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Festus Ezeli had 5 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist. Shaun Livingston, 4 points, 5 boards, and 3 assists. And Leandro Barbosa with 2 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist for the Warriors. And that was all off the bench. And then for the Cleveland Cavaliers, 3 of their 5 starters scored in double digits, led by the game's leading scorer, LeBron James, who actually put up the highest point total of his playoff career as he scored 44 points. He had 8 rebounds and 6 assists in this game. He was 18 of 38 from the field, but just 2 of 8 from downtown and 6 of 10 from the free throw line. Kyrie Irving, 23 points, 7 boards, 6 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks in this game as he came up big. And he went down, though, and that's a really big loss for the Cavs, seeing him go down in the overtime period. And there's definitely going to be a question of whether or not he'll be able to play in Game 2. Timofey Mozgov had 16 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, and a block in this game. Tristan Thompson, 2 points, but he had 15 rebounds. So he had the most rebounds out of anybody in this game. He was actually the only player in this game to have double digits on the boards, as he had 9 defensive rebounds and 6 offensive rebounds. He also had 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block in this game. Shumpert had 6 points, 2 boards, 4 steals, and 1 block. And off the bench, the only player to score any points off the bench for Cleveland was J.R. Smith, as he had 9 points and 4 rebounds. Dellavedova didn't have any points. He had 3 assists and a board. And James Jones with 1 board, 1 assist, and 1 steal off the bench. So just 9 points for Cleveland's bench. And the Warriors, they were getting a lot more from their bench. As you saw, Iguodala had 15 points. And all around, they ended up scoring, 34 points for Golden State's bench. So the Warriors, their bench outscoring the Cavs bench. And then let's look at the percentages on the field goals. The Warriors outshot the Cleveland Cavaliers 44.3% to 41.5%. They both made 39 field goals, but the Warriors took 6 less at 88 versus 94 shots for Cleveland. And from three-point land, the Golden State Warriors hit 37%, hitting 10 of 27. The Cleveland Cavaliers 29%, hitting 9 of 31. And the Warriors have only lost one game in these playoffs when they hit 10 or more three-pointers. So the Warriors, when they hit 10, they're just about guaranteed to win. Like I said, they did lose one game in the Western Conference Finals when they hit more than 10 or more, but that only happened one time. Up until that point, they had been undefeated when they hit that many three-pointers. So the three-point trend continues here in the finals in Game 1. But from the free throw line, Golden State hitting 90.9%, 20 of 22 from the free throw line, including 8 for 8 for Klay Thompson, 4 for 4 for Curry, 4 for 4 for Draymond Green, 3 for 4 for Festus Ezeli, because that's very impressive for the big man. But the Cleveland Cavaliers, they were struggling from the foul line. They weren't really getting there. Neither team was really getting there. There wasn't a lot of fouls, which was actually nice to see. But the Cavs just 13 of 19, hitting 68.4% of their free throw shots. Instead, LeBron just hitting 60% from the foul line. As he put up, 44 points in this game, but hitting just 6 of 10 from the foul line. That was his one weak spot in his game. He was actually playing really well and really dishing the ball around. He was facilitating points. He only had 6 assists, but I mean, watching the game, you would have swore he had more assists. But let's look at the numbers, though, too, with the rebounds. The Warriors out-rebounding the Cleveland Cavaliers 48-45, although the Cavs did out-rebound them on the offensive glass, just barely 13-11, but on the defensive glass, the Warriors out-rebound them 37-32, so it's a total of 48-45 overall in favor of the Warriors. They also had more assists, 24-19. The Cavs had more steals, 10-8. Both teams had 5 blocks. The Warriors actually had one more turnover, 12-11. So the Warriors, like I said, very impressive win here for Golden State. They were down early on, but they didn't let that keep them down as they came up, big in the second quarter, and they just kept on fighting, kept fighting. And, they were struggling with their shots early, but once they found their rhythm, they started to drain those threes, and they were always hitting the, foul shots. They didn't take a lot of foul shots, but they weren't missing their foul shots. They made every one count, only missing 2 from the free throw line. And so they hit the 10 three-pointers, and at this point, when they hit the three-pointers, only having lost one game when they hit 10 or more. And like I said, that trend continues. So once they find that three-point shot, and once they start burying those threes, that's what, that's a path to victory for the Warriors. I mean, 30 points just off of three-pointers in this game. And really, in overtime, they just dominated. At that point, actually, throughout the game, it looked like they were playing Cleveland Cavaliers style. Like, they were kind of, the Cavs were kind of dictating the pace somewhat. I kind of expected that the Warriors would struggle a little bit early on, especially in the first quarter. I wasn't really surprised to see that. I wasn't really necessarily thinking that, that would define the game. That first quarter was going to be what happened in the second and third, if they were going to be able to find their shots. Because coming off that long rest, it's tough for a team that relies on shooting to actually find their shots, because they need to just get into the rhythm of it. Whereas the Cavs early on, they kept, dishing the ball down low into the paint. They were scoring with their size, and you could see how big the Cavs looked next to the Warriors, although the Warriors are a far more talented team overall. But of course, the Cavs got the best player on the planet in LeBron James, although you can make the argument that the Warriors, they got another guy. He's right there he's starting to make the argument towards being the best player, and that's Steph Curry. He definitely was the best player this season. He's the MVP, and deservedly so. And so he got one hell of a series. If this game is any indication, I expected it to be a very competitive series and a real fun series to watch. And this game definitely lived up to my expectations. It was a real fun game to watch, very exciting, some awesome basketball. They said, I mean, it was back and forth, and the Warriors just kept fighting, and it really showed a lot of heart, a lot of strength on their part, that they did not let themselves, fall down, into double digits after the first period, after the first quarter, rather. A little hockey on my mind, sorry about that. But, they were down by double digits after one, but then in the rest of the game, they kept it pretty close. They fell down as much as 7 in the third, but they kept bringing it to within 1, and then having that tie, at the end there with that shot by Iguodala. And of course, I mean, it was some exciting stuff at the end of every quarter, really. At the end of the first half there with J.R. Smith hitting that 3, it's definitely a memorable moment. Even we saw, Curry, man, I'll tell you, the guy's amazing. There's one play where he lost the ball, and then he goes after the ball, he picks it up, and then he just tosses it up, and it goes in, and it's like, man, this guy he don't miss. He is one heck of a player, that's for sure. He's definitely a pleasure to watch play basketball. He's one of the best pure shooters the game has ever seen. And I'll tell you, this series is definitely shaping up to be a classic. Definitely one for the ages, in my opinion. I mean, I'm enjoying every minute of it, watching the Golden State Warriors, and they got such a great squad. And LeBron James, I mean, not to disparage anybody else on the team, but it's like he's playing by himself. It's like LeBron versus the Warriors. And like I said, I'm not trying to belittle the Cavaliers by any stretch of the imagination, but they're by no means near the team that the Warriors are. And this is a Warriors team that's been like building for a couple years, you know what I mean? They got, Bogut came in and everything, and he's really solidified their defense, but they've been a team for a while, whereas the Cavs, this is their first year really together, with LeBron coming back, and then the new additions, with Shumpert and Smith, and of course Mozgov coming over. So it's a hell of an accomplishment that they're even in the finals. And I mean, this was an incredible game. I actually expect the Warriors to come out and kind of blow them out in game 2. Although, I don't know if the Cavs are, and especially LeBron, if he's going to let it go down like that. But I fully expect the Warriors to go up 2-0. Cavs are in trouble. They had to win this one. They had a chance to win it, but the Warriors, this is what I think this game shows, that the Warriors are probably going to win this series. I mean, I fully expected them to take this series unless LeBron comes out with a friggin' like superhero type of performance, and just, it would be one of the all-time great performances if somehow the Cavs managed to take this series. The chances are even less now after, letting this one slip out of their hands. As I said, the Warriors, they just refused to lose. They played one hell of a game, and in the end, they take it. And the final score, Golden State 108, Cleveland 100. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, what you thought about this game, and what you think about things moving forward. What do you think is going to happen in Game 2? What do you think is going to happen in this series? Like I said, the way this game went down, I'd say it's probably Golden State going to win this one in 5. That's pretty much what I thought going into it. But watching the game, though, I mean, it's competitive. I wouldn't be shocked if somehow the Cavs force Game 7, but they needed to win this one, and they let it slip out of their hands. They had a chance, but like I said, once the Warriors found their shot, you just can't stop them. You can't keep the Warriors down. They just got too much firepower. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day, and have